Hello YouTube viewers, welcome to my channel Science to Technology. In today's show, Computer Wednesday, we're going to talk about chip shortage in 2022. So let's dive right into it. Now, what exactly is the issue here? Well, many things, the MSSRP, basically maximum suggested retail price, is become a joke now. Basically, at this point in time, old people will say, back in my days, we used to get products inside it. Meaning, if box price was, let's say, for my graphics card was like around, let's say, 55,000, I bought it for 43,000. That's like, whoa. Kids nowadays is like, whoa, are you serious? Like, below MSRP, what the hell? So that's a very serious issue. And to give you a context of that, like this is how bad it is. Meaning we had a completely novel disease that came. We created a vaccine for it. We deployed this, as in like I live in India. We have deployed around 1 billion of. I already have like all 2 shots, and the third shot that is like for new variant that will also happen very soon. So you get that point. Like we are deploying vaccines faster than we are having trouble solving silicon shortage, which like we have been manufacturing for last 30 years rigorously. So it's like that's a big deal. Now you may have an issue where it's like who cares about GPUs? Well, it's not that. GPU is just a symptom of it, meaning the disease is much bigger. It's affecting everyone, meaning every field known to man is getting affected by this. So this is very, very serious. Now again, you may not be affected by it directly, but indirectly I guarantee it, you can trace the effect into this, because it's affecting many fields, like car industry. Now car industry is a very big industry, meaning the amount of people who are employed by this industry is huge. Now think of it this way, they require a supply chain, meaning there has to be a influx of new cars, outflux of retired cars. Like there is a flow to it, there is a flow, and that flow is directly proportional to your health of economy. Meaning if country is doing good, like people will buy cars, more things will happen, more sales, more services. Like it's an important economical metric. All of them poof. Yeah, why? We don't have chip. That's a serious issue. Like meaning all of these cars require a lot of chips to actually operate. And if you're like, yeah, we are running out of chips. Now again, this was a issue of their own making, but again we cannot blame them, because if every company is like be it Maruti, be it Ford, and be of things of this nature were like we think in pandemic people will not buy a lot of new cars, and again we are predicting that there will be a shortage simply because they have reduced, many of them reduced their order. Now if they have not done that, they would have recovered much quicker, but they did do that. So consequence was like, once the demand exploded. Now why did it explode? People did not want it to use public transit when you have a airborne disease. People don't want that. So car sales literally went like, oh, normal to. Now when that happened, like companies are like, okay, we need to start mass producing it. At that point they went to all their manufacturing partners, basically the puppy who makes basically silicons. They're like, yeah, we have sold that extra capacity, because every fabrication lab never runs at 100% capacity. They don't want to run at 100%. They're like 80 to 90%. That's good profitability, and that allows them to repair, maintain, upkeep because again these equipments are multi-million-dollar equipment. So maintenance is not something that you like, who cares. Maintenance is very serious. You take it seriously. So in those sort of scenario, having it's like you cannot just go and order, ask them to boost their capacity. They do that, like they do keep that sphere, but because of the pandemic, because of they reduce their order. Now everybody else booked that reserve capacity. They are stuck, and it will take end of this year, as in like 2022, if things go well, that they will start to recover. Because even if you are, let's say, a huge company like Ford, and your orders are like in billions of dollars, company still would be like, yeah, you can give me billions of dollars, but it's like 4 months at best case scenario for you to start receiving the shipments, and that's at best case scenario. So for consumer point of view, that's 9 months from now, meaning almost at the end of 2022 you can expect car prices to go to normal levels. So this is one of the serious things. Like cars are getting affected, PC industry is like taking very serious hit, and servers. Now server literally went from, oh yeah, we can run this small video calling app from, like, let's say, one server building. Now it's like, yeah, we need hundreds of them. Like literally cloud infrastructure demand went from nothing, and that seriously created a much higher demand. That's why I'm saying the car industry kind of got stuck, simply because all those spare capacity was bought up by server industry and PC industry. And during this time, console is also newly launched. So at the end of the day, this was something that you have to understand very thoroughly. It was going to happen sooner or later. It was not caused by pandemic. Basically, pandemic was the trigger event. It's not a what you call basically core cause of it. It was like a bad situation where just one bad thing had to happen, where it's like all the dominoes fall. That's what exactly happened here. So too many bad things happened too quickly. That's why like we literally are overrun. Even with something that we have been manufacturing for 30 years, we literally got stuck in a position where it's like, dude, we can't do anything about anything. So that is really bad. Now, what are the things that made it so horrible? Well, lack of fabrication labs, because literally I can count how many major manufacturers exist that can manufacture basically silicon. Every country that is good can manufacture their own cars, but only China, South Korea and Taiwan can manufacture silicons in large enough quantities. Many other countries have small experimental lab fabrication labs that are generally used for defense structures, but other than that, good luck. That's the whole thing. That's how bad it is. So that was always a weak link. Basically, if any of you are who are old enough, you would have heard very old news, basically, where there was a company that was mass producing basically hard disk platters, and there was only one company that was on the planet that was doing that. Meaning, you were like, hey, wait a minute, what about Western Digital, SanDisk? No, all of them were buying from this one spot. And consequence of when that flooding happened, hard drive prices literally doubled up. Basically, cheap hard drive became a dream. Now it took 1.5 years for that factory to come back online and started to mass produce. And again, if this sort of thing happens, because they are insurance covered, they generally upgrade the system, so their production went even more up, but prices never went down. All the company did is like, people are used to this, high inflated prices. How about we sell it that? How about we increase our profit? So that's happened whenever you have one point of failure, and that was always there with fabrication lab. It's like China goes boom, done. Taiwan goes boom, done. If South Korea goes boom, done. So that was always a failure. But think of this way, like how many countries have very good car manufacturing capability? Almost all of them, but none of them can actually work because none of them have fabrication labs. So that was the whole thing. And during this time, we also launched a new console. So now console take a very long amount of time to develop, do all the things that you need to do. I used to work in video game industry, so these puppies are generally back ordered and back cataloged very long ago. Meaning, when you are saying, let's say this year, let's say 2021 PS5 would be launched, does not mean that every hardware was done 1 year ago. It would have been done 3 or 4 years ago. Meaning, they would have went to the basically supplier and it's like, hey, I need this many millions of order. Silicon ordering on is very serious. Basically, it has to be planned much far ahead. You cannot be like, we'll tell you more when we need more. No, it has to be planned very methodically. And consoles are a very large volume item, meaning they're gonna sell millions of it, at least 10 to 20 million day one. That's their day one, and that's a bad prediction. In their good prediction, they will have many more. And if the companies have the they generally have a good analysis where it's like, I think this is a good product, I think we can sell more of it, they will pre-order. So that was a huge bulk order that was pre-planned. It was like, we're gonna do this, and again, company took the order, but because of the pandemic shutdown, that order went into hold. That created a huge pile up. So that pile up, because it was such a huge thing, when the pandemic was removed, factories started to work online, they had such a huge backlog to clear. And you cannot just like, oh lol, you cannot lol Sony. So you have to deliver. So in those sort of scenarios, like, okay, you have to chug through. So they cannot even meet their normal timeline of 4 months from order to delivery. They're like, yeah, it will take 8 months because we have such a huge backlog. And during this time, basically this is the first time a good CPU and GPU launch happened. Meaning, generally computers have reached a point of diminishing return. Meaning, I am utilizing a very old and bad computer. Meaning, this is so bad, like AMD got sued for it. It is like FX8350 bulldozer. Yeah, it's a really bad. However, it does work. Again, I am using it. Again, it has a limitation. It takes like almost 1 hour to render, like 2 videos, one in Hindi, one in English. But again, it does work. And many people had reached that point where it's like, all the new iterations, this, Intel that, in Hulululu, Jingalala, is like, it barely has any whoa kind of performance. So people were kind of like, PC sales were going down. It's like, dude, every year I cannot just keep replacing motherboard, keep buying new RAM, this. And RTX 20 series was really bad also in reception. So people are like, you know what, I'm done. However, this generation, meaning 2020, everything changed. Like, whoa, AMD released a new CPU which was like, done. This is the first time flat out everyone's like, this is a god tier CPU that can bitch slap Intel while consuming less power. It's like people are like, whoa, what is this? And many people who have been waiting for so long, they were like, now it's my time to upgrade. So that created pent up system. Same happened for GPU. Like I have GTX 1070, and many people in my generation series, basically GTX 10 series, they did not upgrade it to 20 series. RTX 20 was really not that good, because again, people are like, dude, why the heck it prices so much? And RTX was Gen 1 product, meaning inherently it's gonna be garbage. Gen 1 products are always garbage. So it takes time for manufacturers, game integrations, engines and all that to work properly, whereas like no, RTX now means you actually get good visuals. So that also happened. But RTX 30 series, now it's a good second gen product. This was also awesome, and again, Nvidia learned from their mistake. The price was much more cheaper, so that created an even more demand. Like think of this way, like you have ludicrously high demand of PlayStation that is being launched, you have ludicrously good GPU and CPU being launched at the same time, so that created idiotically high pent up demand. And during this time, Ethereum prices also went up. So Ethereum is one of the successful bitcoins that can be mined, right? Bitcoin as in like cryptocurrency that can be mined, because many cryptocurrencies, generally majority of them fail. Many cryptocurrencies fail, only some become big, like Bitcoin. Now Bitcoin went like to such a high complexity at this point in time, you cannot mine them on GPU. Again, inherently you can do that, but it's like, you spend the money equivalent of 5 bitcoins, you will get 0.5 bitcoin in like numbers, hash counter sizing. So it's inherently inefficient, so people are not mining that. But Ethereum, because the price went up, that also created a new fresh breed of scalpers. So timing was really bad. That's why I specified basically this fact that we have always had like such a few fabrication labs for such a large world was always a point of failure. The fact that we did not had like so many good meh kind of launches created a pent up demand. The fact that console cycle happened this exact time, so it was just like whole house of card collapsed at this point. And Ethereum was like, how about we add some petrol to the fire, because love. So timing was really bad. Now let's understand the cryptocurrency aspect of it. Now I hate this puppy with passion. Like I genuinely hate this, because this became a genuine curse on this planet, meaning we are burning gigawatts of electricity. Yes, that's how big it is. Hundreds of gigawatts of electrical energy being burnt. And you might be like, okay, is it doing something? Well, no, it's just making richer people a bit more richer, and it's burning the planet to the ground. Because here's the same thing can be said about iPhones, but it's a physical hardware. It's something that somebody had to develop. A lot of people got into jobs because of that, like sales department, servicing department, repair department, people who are programming, like a lot of jobs were created. Same happens, like if the same amount of electrical energy was used to, let's say, create metal, basically smelt metal and make steel, that steel would be so much that it will drive down the price of basically rebars that are the fundamental blocks of almost all modern construction project. That will drive up the construction, that will literally employ more people. So we always have scenarios where like rich people get even more richer, but generally the way they do it, it actually helps the economy. And that's what you want what we call mutually beneficial relationships, where it's like I scratch your back, you scratch my back. So we, again, you may get more out of me, but I get something. But here crypto, nobody gets anything, meaning a nation that is like we are creating national grid and we are producing this much power, you are buying this much power, but what we are getting for all. Like you are not a hospital, you are not a steel mill, you are not a agriculture factory where you are like producing food that people can eat, and nothing. It's just like we are crunching numbers. Now many countries are taking serious actions, and they are trying to ban cryptocurrency. Now from a principal point of view, from a freedom point of view, I genuinely hate that idea, but I can understand why governments are like, no, we have to do this, because the actions they are committing, basically the amount of energy that's being burnt. China has a really good electrical infrastructure, like really good. That's why like majority of the world's factories they're really good at that. But here's the, they are having a hard time. They're like, dude, we are running out of coal, because you are this sort of hashing is happening that much. Because again, a steel factory has a kind of limited output, but cryptocurrency is like 1 gigawatt connection, 5 gigawatt connection, 50 gigawatt connection. Is like, what the hell? Countries like, what the hell? Like we cannot like keep burning substations just because you're like hashing something. So I get it, like why China wants to ban it. I get it why India wants to ban it. I get it when Russia wants to like just nuke these sort of things. I get it, I personally get it. So that's the whole point, like all this amount of energy being consumed and creating nothing. Like there is nothing. Now you may be like, isn't supercomputer the same? Well, no. All supercomputers generally does something useful, either for basically national defense systems, or most of the supercomputers are generally doing what we call weather crunching, meaning they crunch out satellite data and be like, okay, this place has to have typhoon. This is the way the typhoon will be. This is where the cyclone would be, and that helps humanity survive better. It's like, okay, do not plant crop right now because again, this bad weather will destroy it. Save your money. That's awesome. That helps everybody. So all this cryptocurrency is just burning money away, destroying the planet for nothing. And Ethereum literally realized the fact that it is having a really bad effect on them, again because government right now they are trying to target miners, but if they start to target the thing, that will collapse the whole ecosystem. Basically it's a what we call a speculative market. There is no real stuff. Like bitcoins have no value. It's like not 1 kilogram of gold. It's not fungible. So inherently it is just like blah. And that's why you cannot ever use bitcoins for payment, because again you pay someone 2 bitcoin right now, the price is low. That's like, I only paid him 2 bitcoins, but after like 1 month the price went up to like from $2,000 to $20,000. You're like, what the hell? You get that point? Like you cannot use money in that sort of scenario. It has to be stable. Now like, hey, our money loses value. It loses few percent per year, not like, okay, $2,000, $2,000, $25,000, $58,000, $3,000. Yeah, that cannot happen. So inherently that's why nobody uses cryptocurrency for a major exchange, and it's not safe. That's why like every other day you're like, this crypto got hacked, this crypto got hacked. It's not safe. So inherently everybody's suffering. And Ethereum knowing looking at this, it's like, we will be, have a missiles targeted our ass. So they're like going from proof of work, meaning things that can be mined right now, to proof of stake. And one of the unique selling point was like, it will reduce hacking attacks. I'm like, that was the whole point of cryptocurrency, that it should be safe, unhackable. But turns out that was just a fluff. So that's why I truly, with passion, hate cryptocurrency. All of it is just a curse that is destroying our planet for no reason. I'm like, make steel out of it, recycle glass out of it, heck, recycle lead out of it. Just keep using lead acid batteries. Again, it's awesome, but like, do not turn electricity into just hash. So I passionately hate this. Now, scalpers. Again, if cryptocurrency was not bad enough, scalpers are like also milking this puppy. Now be very mindful, there are some serious law against scalping essential items, meaning if you try to scalp food, medicine, things of that nature, generally there will be police who will be like, your ass is mine now. So you have to understand that. Like that's why like scalping does not happen on other things, essential items specifically. And right now they are milking the hell out of it, simply because there was so much piled up demand of so many people like switching instantaneously. It like literally create an avalanche. So that avalanche is unmanageable by any Tom, Dick and Harry. And again, if you are in time crunch, for example, I use my computer for my livelihood, to run this YouTube channel, to pay myself. Again, if this computer dies, which it making fancy sounds, and I'm now worried about it, but let's say it goes poof, I have to pay a scalper. Like there is no other choice for it. Like I have to do it because it's time critical. I need my system as as quickly as possible. It has to be done. And same happens for companies, factories, things of that nature, where it's like, dude, I need this machine. If I don't have that machine, I cannot run the CAD simulations. Again, many people use this graphics card for high-end CAD simulations. You need that. So in those sort of scenarios, you're gonna pay whatever they're asking, because time is far more. Even though it may make your project from profitable to loss, you will still do it because you do not want to damage your reputation. Whereas like, dude, we send them the, because they're not gonna care. It's like, your graphics card died, that's your problem. So fundamentally that time crunch really gives scalpers the amazing god tier power. It's like, dude, you're gonna pay me however much you can ask. So that inherently creates a very bad side effect. And there are no clear-cut laws on scalping for non-essential items. Be very mindful. Our GPUs are not something that is classified as you're gonna die if you don't have it. It's not like penicillin, or it's not like food or water. So that's why like there are no clear-cut law. Like government is taking notice, because if enough people suffer from this, government is like, yeah, we have to deal with this. So more than enough people are paying attention to this, and there may be in upcoming months or years there will maybe some new laws that are like, there are some limits to this. So that may happen. And the fact that it became a free for all, it's really bad for everyone, because again, scalpers are getting now scalped. So if a scalper is like, I'm gonna sell it like 50%, other scalpers are buying it and they're selling it even higher prices. And it's really good for sellers. That's why sellers are not applying any brakes on that, because sellers are generally managing the inventory, and it's a very tedious task. It's like, okay, let's say Nvidia sent me 1,000 of this. Okay, you have to sell it to 1,000 other people. That's a hell lot of paperwork that you have to do, hell lot of hassles that you have to clear through, and you also have to inventorize them properly. Otherwise they will not get warranty claims, and people's gonna drive stake up your ass. So in those sort of scenario, it's really good for sellers, because sellers, the moment they sell it to basically scalpers, is like, bulk sell. Bulk sales are really good for bank balance, because once you have that kind of huge money going into bank, the interest from that money goes up. So that's awesome. So they are happy with that. And again, instead of dealing with 1500 orders, they have to deal with one order. So they genuinely want that. They're like, dude, just take it away from me. Basically, they are acting like a wholesaler. Even though they may be end shop, they are acting like wholesaler. So they're like, just take it and go. Just take it and go. I don't have to worry about it. Don't have to worry about repairs also, because again, there is no paperwork for that. But it's really bad for manufacturing. You're like, wait a minute, how the heck it could be bad for manufacturing? Basically, who do you blame right now? What do people blame right now? It's like, Nvidia, why the heck you can't make the system? AMD, why can't you make more CPUs? Intel, why can't you mass produce your CPUs? You get that point. And because these companies are what we classify as publicly traded, if they damage their reputation enough, it will start to tank down their stock value, which is not acceptable. And again, if there are companies, like large companies, that went poof because they pissed off their customer base too much. So it is one thing, because they are getting blamed and they can't milk it. Inherently, it would have been amazing for them if they are like, hey, we are selling graphics card and we are expecting, let's say, $100 profit on it. Now we're getting $500 profit on it. What they will do first, they will take the profit and they'll invest more in R&D. They are not doing that. So they are getting blamed for it, and they are not milking it. So it's really bad for them. And generally, what they people do, same thing happened with toilet paper in 2020. It's like, first there was like insane scalping, but once company realized, hey, there is a lot of scalping, that's like awesome, let's turbocharge our inventories and like just mass produce it. Once they started to flood the market, these scalpers were like, we have the product but nobody will buy it from us, because again, now it's market already has it. So that's the whole thing that should have happened, but because of the bad timing, like really galactically bad timing, they're all stuck. So Sony is getting bad reputation, Nvidia is getting burnt, so it's really bad for everyone. So what can you do at this point in time? Well, be very mindful. If you it's really painful for me. Basically, do not spend on it if you're not making money from it. What does that mean? That simply means, again, for me, it's unavoidable. If my computer dies at this moment in time, I have to invest in it, because again, I will not be able to feed myself if I don't. But again, if you're not in a position, let's say you work in a company and company has the main PC that, like, does all the work, do not spend it. Like, have some patience, hold yourself. And again, I guarantee there are more than enough ways to spend that time on doing something productive. Heck, let's say you are like, office job and you do, let's say, 2 hours of gaming every night. Spend that time on gym. I guarantee you it will have a much more beneficial yield to it, and it will be cheaper. So that's the whole point. Save that money. Do not spend it unless you are making money from it. And every time somebody buys, it emboldens them, because that's the same thing that happened with hard disk. So I lived through this. I know for a fact there is a very serious risk that we will never have a computer that people can buy. And again, it's really bad for Intel also, Intel, AMD, Nvidia, because if people get burnt from this, like, because 3 to 4 lakh rupees, that's like, like $2,000 computers are not something that everybody can afford. And again, they will afford it one time or two times, but are you actually making that kind of money where you can justify, like, consuming this sort of thing at that high prices? Reality is no. And more people will go from, like, server industry, like cloud services. Now, like, wouldn't that make them more profitable? Well, no. If that was the case, every company would have shut down their customer division. That does not work that way. Like, you may think like, oh, Intel is like, making most of the money from server industry. Yes, but they are still making significant money from consumer industry. If they did not, they would have shut that puppy down long ago. And some company have done that. Like, in some scenarios, it does make more sense to shut down consumer division, but in computer industry, it does not. So, and again, it also drives down what you call stock value, because again, if more and more people are detached from your product, the stock value will not be that high. So that's why it emboldens everybody. It's like really bad for them. So do not spend money unless you have to. And right now, the best option you have is generally system integrators, generally Gen 2 system integrator, meaning you have Mark 1 integrators who are like, HP, Dell, and things of this nature. They cannot do too much about it. However, there are some other options also, meaning I can guarantee you in your own country, there will be more than enough low tier ones, which generally did not get too much attention, but they have ties with big companies, and they can get you products on, like, let's say 150% of MSRP, which may sound a lot, but again, compared to the current market, it's like free. So that may be a very good option. And if you are a person who replaces your equipment regularly, I would urge you to look into laptops, because right now laptops are the only thing that can give you, like, all I have checked, basically 10 RTX 3060 prices is equivalent to RTX 3070 laptop, and that's a complete laptop. So you get that point. Like again, if you do not need ludicrously high longevity, you can go into laptops which have really good price to performance ratio as of now. And again, hope at this point in time, hope Intel can do it, because Intel has got the world's most amazing market opportunity. Like companies spend billions on it and they still don't have this kind of market opportunity, meaning Intel, unless they create something fundamentally bad, they will sell out. If they are like, if their cards are like, rather than good, it's just like meh. As long as it's not bad, as long as it's not like, oh, it's frying motherboard, oh, it's like, causing like, BIOS failure, things on it. Basically, as long as it's not bad, basically causing harm to the PC, it's gonna sell out. That simply gives them a huge market grab instantaneously. Basically, they will go from, oh, we don't have any market share, to like, tada, market share. And that is awesome. That means Intel driver division will go from barely having any customer testing data to like, tada, server full of that. That means their driver division can go from garbage to awesome very quickly. I mean, like, that's the primary reason why AMD kind of lags behind, is like their driver division is really not that awesome. And Nvidia does put some serious effort into making their driver. Intel will have that kind of opportunity instantaneously, meaning if right now Intel makes let's say 1 million of it, they're gonna sell out. They're not gonna have issues like, we have the graphics card in the store shelf, nobody's buying that. That's not gonna happen. That's awesome. That Intel, basically Arc GPU division, they have a solid market ahead. At this point in time, Intel, all they have to do is milk this puppy. If they do it properly, everybody wins, and scalpers will lose. Because again, think of this, let's say that shortage issue is gonna be sorted. Companies are working their ass off to solve it. More and more companies are like literally investing into making fabrication labs that will like actually reduce the fact, okay, USA now also has a mass production fabrication lab. Okay, India may also get one. Other countries like Japan is also looking into getting one. So like, you get that point. Like more and more people are making mass production fabrication labs. Once they start to come, that will start to flood the market. So we're gonna have amazing few years, but we have to suffer through this. So at this point in time, system integrators are your option A. Option B is a laptop, which is, from a price point of view, it's awesome at this point in time. And I would urge you, if you can wait, please wait, because every time somebody buys, that creates that probability to absolute that everything will be ludicrously highly priced in the future. And hope Intel can deliver. If they deliver, we're gonna be saved. If they don't, well, that's life. Sometimes it happens. So this was my presentation on basically chip shortage in 2022. Hopefully you have liked it, learned from it. In that case, please hit the like button, share it amongst your friends. That will help me a lot. If you didn't like it, didn't enjoy it, I urge you to press dislike, press it twice to show me extra disappointment. Please leave a comment, because I do try to reply to all of them. Subscribe, press the bell icon if you're free, and as always, thanks for watching.